Mm-hmm.
and of Brunch and Biz, correct?
That is correct. How
Okay,
y'all
awesome,
doing?
awesome. So, as you know, like I said, this is the Black Podcast Show. This is actually the only podcast online hosted by me, Shantae. So on the Black Podcast Show, typically I have 3 to 4 segments. Since you're on, I'm going to be interviewing you. But before we get into the interview, I always give my listeners a little motivation to carry with them throughout the week. And being that you're a guest on my show, it's a requirement for you to hit the listeners with a little motivation that they can carry with them through the rest of the week, maybe the rest of the month, possibly the rest of the year.
Oh, the gems I drop last a lifetime.
A lifetime for the rest of their life?
Yeah, for real. Like they can apply this like across the board for the rest of their life. That's
Okay.
Any gems I drop.
So what you got for us?
So today I just want to say that if you don't see a lane that you can be in, create it. Like for me, for instance, my flagship business, Melanin Voyage, not a lot of people are doing group travel, especially with strangers. So I definitely had to create my own lane for that. And yeah, it's the best thing I could have ever did. And if somebody tells you that you can't create a lane, they're lying to you.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. If you don't see a lane, create one. You make it sound so simple.
It's not simple. You have to have motivation though. Like you have to be a self-starter. You have to have motivation to get it done. You have to have a greater goal in mind, because if you don't, you'll get lost in the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
But you always have to remember what your goal is in the end. When I started out with my businesses, I just started out as a writer, but now I have a full-blown travel company. So it's just, you have to make sure you stay motivated. And if you don't stay motivated, creating a lane is not going to work for you. It takes work to create a lane of your own. It really does.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you hitting my listeners with that motivation. I know somebody out there needed to hear that, because I'm sure somebody out there that has some kind of idea in mind, but there's no blueprint. You know what I'm saying? There's no way for them to figure out, okay, how do I go about this? Who can I follow?
Right.
So they have to just, in some cases, you have to create that for yourself. And I'm going to give you guys a little motivation as well. And I'm just going to say, and I guess this can kind of piggyback off that, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Right.
Truthfully, I think that a lot of times we get so stuck in our own heads or caught up in our own ego that we might be afraid to say, hey, how did you do that? Or sometimes you might ask one person for help and they say, well, I had to figure it out on my own. So
People are good for that too. They really are.
But that shouldn't discourage you from asking someone else for help.
That is
I mean,
correct.
figure it out on your own if you can, but sometimes you have to ask for help. We're not all inclined the same way. Sometimes you have to outsource things. Sometimes there's someone else that has a farther reach, a better know-how, a more professional or knowledgeable way of doing things. And I mean, until you get that, you have to try to do what you can on your own. But don't be afraid to ask for help. A lot of people are eager to help out where they can.
And I'm one of those people. So if y'all ever need help, y'all can always reach out to me. Like I literally, I love helping people. I love seeing other people achieve. That's my thing. Because I can't say that my journey to entrepreneurship was just me alone. There were people who helped me along the way, and I'm very thankful for that. So when I can, I always try and give back.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
See? So you have to be willing to ask for help, and you have to be willing to accept help when you need it. So with all that being said, first of all, like I said, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're going to jump into an interview at this point.
Okay.
Like I said, it's an honor to have you here on my podcast to be able to introduce you to my audience and hopefully be able to soak up some knowledge and spread some game and some gems, right?
Of course, always.
All right, perfect. So to call you an entrepreneur seemed like it would kind of be an understatement.
It really is, though. It is.
Like I said, you own Brunch and Biz, which is your events that you throw where you're advising, like entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
To maneuver in the business world.
Yeah. So Brunch and Business, basically, it is a business brunch club for Black women.
A business brunch club?
Yes. So basically what we do is right now right now we are, a monthly brunch club, but soon enough we'll start to be bi-weekly. But we go from city to city and we have our brunch events, and at these brunch events we hold master classes. So yeah, that's what Brunch and Biz is. And we also have another part of Brunch and Biz, which is the Biz Academy. And it's an 8-month mentorship program.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
An 8-month mentorship program.
Yeah.
And so the students of that class, once they complete that class, what do they venture off into? What's the mentorship?
So basically what they do is, they do the 8-month mentorship program, and they pretty much learn everything that I know, because my heart and soul, I put it into Biz Academy. So anything that I know is going to be inside of Biz Academy.
And that's as far as running a business.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
As far
Do
as
they
running a
take
business.
that and start their own businesses, or
Yeah.
do you help them come up with ideas, or they already have what they?
So the beginning, like maybe the first 2 months is like getting that strong foundation for building a business. Some of the women that are enrolled in Biz Academy, they actually already have businesses. They just need to know how to level up their businesses. So that's what Biz Academy is for. And it's also for the person who, is just now starting a business or needs ideas, or, how to get a strong foundation for starting a business as well.
Okay, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Pretty cool. Okay. You also have Southern 360 Visuals, which is the 360 camera rental that has blown up recently. And actually, Lama, I have a couple of videos that I sent you of the 360 visuals that I want to show to people. But I'm sure like everybody already knows what we're talking about.
The camera orbits around you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you able to show some of those videos at all? All right, let's see a couple of them.
Okay. Well, yeah, it is a.
It says some of her pics are not showing up. My mic. All right, so we might be having some technical difficulties.
Okay.
So we might not be showing the videos.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, I'm sure everyone knows what we're talking about. But of course, you also have Melanin Voyage, which is obviously your, like you said, your flagship business.
Yes, yes.
So please tell my listeners and I exactly what Melanin Voyage is.
Okay. So Melanin Voyage, we are a full service travel company, travel and media company. We are a travel agency, but we specialize in group experiences for the African diaspora. So basically, I host group experiences for people that are melanated, people of color, and we do domestic and international. People call them group trips, but I call them experiences because that's what I provide is an experience, and that's on period.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you plan these experiences, and people from all over the country book trips with strangers.
I know you looking like what is you looking like what is this with strangers? Yeah, they do actually. Melanin Voyage, it's so crazy how like I conduct business as far as like the experiences and everything, because yeah, it is a group of strangers. So basically what I do is I have a booking website that you go on to, and I have a full tour schedule of all of my domestic and international experiences upcoming. So what you do is you go on the site and, you look through the itineraries, the destinations that you want to go to, and then you basically just go on there and register. You don't know who you're going to go with. You don't know, who you're going to meet. All you know is that, you're going on an international trip with strangers. And sometimes people do book with their, family, friends. I've had that a lot.
What's the biggest group of people that knew each other that you had?
Oh, my most recent experience in New York. We had a group of, it was like 6 or 7 of them. They were family. Okay. Yeah. So they were like cousins.
For the picnic.
Yeah, picnic. Yeah. So they were cousins. They knew each other, but we still had strangers on the trip. They didn't know those people either. So
do people make friends, huh?
Oh yeah. At the end of the trips, everybody's like travel family. Like literally, when you go on these trips, it happens every time. We go on the trip, nobody knows each other. First night, it's kind of like, you have to break the ice and everything like that. Get to know each other. What's your name? Where you from? What's your sign? I'm a Cancer. But yeah, we just ask those type of questions and everything, and it breaks the ice. And then by the end of the trip, nobody wants to leave. Like everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, we gotta go. I don't want to go." And that's how it happens every time. There is not a time where it's awkward. The first night, maybe, but after the first night, everybody's like family. Everybody, yeah, yeah.
I love it. I love it. I really do. That's what's up. And I know, like, when when we first connected on Facebook, I thought you were actually a travel agent, and it's just funny because that doesn't describe at all everything that you have to offer.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So, what is your official title?
That's a good question. You know, when I sit up here and I think about what I actually do for a living, it's like, do I call myself a travel agent? Because honestly, I book my experiences on a whole different accord than I would a regular travel agent. Like a travel agent, they have a travel agent portal. They go in there, they book individual trips, maybe trips for families, but I don't do that. Like I literally reach out to my vendors like person to person. I don't book through an engine or anything else like that. But yeah, like I guess I wouldn't call myself a travel agent. I'm more of like a travel curator. So like the fact that I have to, pick these destinations myself and make a complete experience from beginning to end, because literally my attendees, they get, all they have to do is show up at the airport if they choose air and land, and I take care of everything for them. So I don't think a travel agent really does that. They kind of give you a paper and like, hey, here's your information. You kind of get there on your own. Options. But for me, it's like I'm carrying them from beginning to end. So I would say I'm a travel curator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what you do is obviously extremely niche. It takes a certain type of person to successfully plan something like this. Shit, even one time.
Yeah.
But this is what you do on a regular basis for a living.
I do.
How did you even get into something like this?
Ooh. Well, picture it, Sicily. I'm just playing. Yeah. So really how I got into it is like it was my freshman year of college headed into my sophomore year of college. I was working for this company, and I won't name who they are, but I was working for this company, and basically what happened is that my family, we planned a trip to Orlando. It was like a family trip, and it was such a rarity because none of my family is really able to get off all at the same time. So I was like, oh, I'm so excited about this trip. Like, I can't wait to go be with my family and like spend time with my family and stuff like that. So time comes around, maybe like a week before I'm supposed to leave, or 2 weeks. I believe it was 2 weeks because I said give 2 week notice. But it was maybe 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave. And then I asked my boss, I was like, hey, I just want to have like 3 days off to go to Orlando with my family. And they were straight up like, no. They was like, nah, because I knew the store from the back to the front. So it was like, they didn't have anybody else who knew the store like I did. So of course, when you have somebody like that, they don't want you to leave and go do your own thing. But they told me no, long story short. And then I was like, oh no, they just tripping. I'm gonna come back and ask them again. Child, don't you know I went back and asked them folks again, and they said no.
They wouldn't give you time off?
They wouldn't give me time off. Even though I submitted it within the allotted time.
That's like slavery. It's literally actually slavery.
It is. And you know what? It really put a fire under my ass to be like, I can't do this. Like, people
absolutely
being able to dictate my time like that.
Right.
I just, no. So, they said no. And then I was like, okay, well, you give me no choice. I have to quit. It was nice knowing y'all, but my family is way more important. I'm a very big family person. So when they told me no, I can't spend time with my family,
you decided you had to make some other moves.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's what I did, and I quit, and I went and I spent time with my family, and then after that I was like, I want to do this for a living. I want to travel for a living, and I want to plan group experiences for a living, and that's exactly what I do now. It's crazy how you manifest things. Yeah, you manifest things, and it's just great. Like I'm blessed.
Well, I'm happy for you. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Seriously, especially to be a young black woman living a dream, literally deciding what you want to do?
Yeah, it's a dream, but it also comes with its challenges. Being an entrepreneur is challenging, but it's rewarding as well.
I mean, with great reward come great risks.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Great work ethic, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it does sound like you literally created your dream career.
I did.
So, I mean, you kind of said this in your motivation, but I just want to re-emphasize, what advice would you have for anyone listening that may be wanting to do something creative or create something without a blueprint to follow?
Well, I would definitely say, if you don't have a blueprint, all you have to do is start with the basics. So for me, when I started out with Melanin Voyage, I started, like I said, I started as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
So I started out writing, and I would research how to, have people engage with your blog posts, how to, search engine optimization, how to get your posts to show up, for search engine optimization, things like that, how to be a better writer, how to, word your blog posts so they can be long, and then everything else like that. So I started off with that. You got to start with the basics. So if you're trying to create a lane for yourself, start with the basics, and then research your industry. Research it until you feel like you're a master at it, and then you move on to the next thing that's going to elevate your business. That's what I say. You have to do the research. You have to put in the work. You can't just go into it blindly. I know a lot of people do, and sometimes it works for people, but for true success, I feel like people who do the research behind what they're doing, it brings them greater success, and it also makes them value that success as well, because they put in the work to learn about their industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it takes time is what it sounds like.
It does. It does take time.
Time and planning.
Yeah. It took me 10 years to become an entrepreneur, a full-time entrepreneur.
Okay.
This didn't come overnight. I was writing blog posts. Oh, thank you, Auntie. My family calls me Pete, by the way, so if you see Pete down there, that's me. Oh, it's my mom too. But yeah, so
that's what's up. That's what's up. I love it. I love it.
But yeah, so it took me some time to become a full-time entrepreneur. It took me 10 years. It did. I just recently, don't think I've been doing this for a minute. I just recently quit my full-time job in March. So don't think it's easy, because it's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you speak with such confidence and passion about what you do. Before I finish the interview, I just gotta ask, how does an entrepreneur manage to maintain a love life?
A love life, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's an interesting question. Well, it's hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. You gotta find somebody who understands where you coming from and where you going. But it is. I try and keep my relationship out the way. I do. I try and keep it out the way, because with me having a platform and everything else like that, I don't want to subject them to all of that. But I mean, we pop out every now and again.
Y'all pop out every now and again.
Yeah, every now and again. I try to,
I mean, but you gotta give my listeners some tips. How does
tips?
Yeah, how does an entrepreneur manage to? Said you gotta find
before
somebody.
We even get into this, I am not a matchmaker, okay, honey? Because
you said you gotta find someone that understands the entrepreneur lifestyle, but
yeah,
what else besides that?
You have to find somebody who's patient. Somebody who, like I said, understands the entrepreneur lifestyle, who understands that sometimes you're going to be up on the computer at 3 o'clock in the morning. And it don't mean that you up to no good. It just mean that you just trying to get ahead. You got to find somebody who understands and lets you do your own thing, because if you don't, it could crumble. The relationship could crumble. Situation could crumble. So even out the gate, if you even feel like you're finna be an entrepreneur, or you about to do some business, or you feel like you're finna be busy, be transparent with people, because that transparency is everything. Let people know what you're getting what they're getting into from the gate. Don't wait, because that's gonna mess you up.
Okay, so it sounds like you said, transparency, patience, and communication are some of the requirements.
That's correct.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the interview portion
Okay.
of things.
Gotcha.
Thank you so much for answering the questions, introducing yourself to my listeners.
No problem.
Hopefully, answering some of your followers and listeners, and whatever the case may be, customers. Hopefully, that you've answered some of their questions that they may have had,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully, you've given somebody some kind of inspiration to try to do their own thing.
I hope so.
Hopefully, sprinkled your little black girl magic all
Black
over
woman
everything.
magic.
Black wow, excuse
Woman.
the fuck out of me. She's black
Black
woman magic. Well, the phrase is black girl magic.
It
but
is.
okay.
It is. But
She
I
said
gotta
it's
be
black
different.
woman magic.
I gotta be different.
Black woman magic. Absolutely. All right, so we're going to switch gears. Like I said, this is the Black Podcast Show, only podcast online hosted by me, your girl, Auchante. I have a couple of different segments. I've already given you guys some motivation. I've interviewed this black woman magic, everything all around, successful businesswoman, and now we're going to get into some true crime. And today I'm going to be talking about just this guy that is just like the scum of the earth, like one of the worst type of people. Scum.
Okay.
And
let's talk about it.
Today I'm going to be talking about Jared from Subway. That's how.
Oh, Jerry.
Yeah, Jared from Subway. That's how most of us remember him. Not that he's accomplished anything notable, but just, the guy from Subway.
The guy from Subway. Okay. And he looked like a creep in this picture, too. He really does.
So for those of y'all that may have been under a rock for the past 20 years and you don't know who Jared is, this guy is Jared Fogle. And about 23 years ago, 1998, Jared was a student at Indiana University, and he weighed about 425 pounds. Actually, and I believe I have a picture of Jared when he was at his hugest. So, like I said, Jared was weighing about 425 pounds. He got to the point where a lot of times he couldn't go places because he couldn't walk. Sometimes he would go out to his car after he went inside to a store, and he wouldn't be able to get inside of his car because somebody else was parked next to him.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he couldn't get into the car. Can you show the picture I have where Jared is just humongous?
Not
that's
him
what I want
walking.
people to see.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's Jared way after he lost weight. But
Okay.
like I said, 1998, Jared was he was in college, but he just was very unhappy. He was too big, and he actually had a health scare, and he said to himself that he had to lose weight.
Okay.
So the closest place to him was a Subway. There was a Subway, I think he said 11 steps away or something like that. It was very close. So he went there one day, and there was a sign basically saying that they had a low-fat diet. So anyway, there's there's certain sandwiches Subway has that are 6 grams of fat, and you can eat them to specifically lose weight. And this is going to be sandwiches without any mayo, cheese,
Mm-hmm.
any kind of I guess dressings or whatever the case is, and then their veggie sub. So twice a day, Jared was eating these subs. He would eat a 6-inch for lunch. I mean, a 6-inch for dinner and a foot long for lunch, and then he would also be walking around.
Okay.
So within about a year, he lost 245 pounds.
Dang.
Yeah. So his school's newspaper actually picked up the story. And then Men's Health ended up picking up the story. Men's Health magazine. So that's a pretty huge magazine. Yeah. So maybe a year after that, Subway actually picked up the story, and they went ahead and signed Jared to tell his story of how he lost all this weight. So the picture I have that I really want us to get up here on the screen is of Jared. There's another one. There's one where he's really big, and then there's another one I have where he is holding up these pants. That show him that show all the weight that he lost. If we could get both of those up on the screen, the one where Jared is at his biggest, and also the one where he's holding up the pants, showing how much weight he lost. But anyway, yeah. So that was pretty much Subway's main sales pitch for years. So they would have Jared on TV. You probably remember seeing the commercials.
I remember seeing
where he
the
would
commercials.
be holding up these jeans. So look, this is Jared back in 1998. For those that are watching, unfortunately, if you're listening, you'll have to look this up on your own. But if you're watching, you can see this is Jared back in 1998 at his biggest, 425 pounds, 6'2".
Big Jared, not the little one.
And so there's another picture we're going to show next where it's showing Jared holding up the jeans that he used to wear. I think he was wearing a size 60 in jeans, and he got down to like a 36 or something like that. So, yeah, this guy lost plenty of weight. Yes, as you can see, this is the Jared that we all know. This is the Jared that got famous. This is Jared from Subway. Everybody, if you've been born within the last 20 years, you recognize Jared holding these jeans. So, Subway, like I said, for years, at least 10 years, Subway did this campaign with Jared, celebrating his weight loss, him keeping off the weight over a 10-year period, and he just was doing his thing. So, give me 1 second. After a while, I'm going to say maybe around like 2006, Subway kind of started to pull away from the Jared story. Not that they had lost interest, but they kind of felt like, okay, we've been doing this long enough. Or maybe it was more like 2011, my bad. They kind of felt like we've been doing this long enough. Let's switch gears. We're still going to work with Jared, but they started doing the $5 footlong thing.
Okay.
So that was their new marketing campaign.
Yeah, it's basically like a refresh, a marketing refresh. Yeah.
But Jared was still going out to different schools and different places, talking to kids and trying to help America stay healthy.
Right.
So Jared opens this foundation called the Jared Foundation. And this foundation was supposed to be a childhood weight loss initiative.
Okay.
So he was supposed to be combating childhood obesity.
Okay.
So Jared pretty much had the mindset that he knew what it was like to be a kid and be overweight and potentially get bullied, et cetera, et cetera. He also knew that a lot of kids may not have access to the resources of healthy food or to be able to exercise. Yeah. So whatever the case was, Jared opened up this foundation, and he actually had made a pledge to donate all this money, which we come to find out later that he didn't do any of that. Ooh. Yeah. So the foundation actually spent less than $75,000 every year, and 60% of that went to the director's salary. About a quarter of that money was just completely unaccounted for, and the rest of it went towards the facilities. So maintaining the actual. How
much you said was unaccounted for?
A quarter. So like I said, the foundation actually was spending less than $75,000. So this foundation is running on $75,000 a year, and 60% of that is the salary of the director. And yeah, 25% of that $75,000 was completely unaccounted for.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, clearly it's a farce of a foundation. Clearly, no business can run on $75,000 a year.
Hello.
So in 2009, Jared hired this guy named Russell Taylor to be the executive director, and this guy Russell Taylor was pretty much Jared's friend. Eventually, Jared and Russell Taylor began exchanging child pornography. So this is Jared and Russell together. Eventually, Russell was going everywhere with Jared as far as traveling the country, going with him to talk to kids. And what ended up happening was Russell Taylor had actually installed cameras in the kids' bathrooms at this foundation. And so Jared found out, and instead of Jared as the head honcho being like, what the fuck, you fired, you know, get off my grounds, he pretty much was like, no, you good. Let's figure out how we can get more cameras into the houses of these kids, how we can get cameras into their bedrooms.
Okay, so just so we clear here, we got the foundation. The foundation is putting cameras inside of the children's homes, right? Where they live.
At this point, they're just in the bathrooms at
the foundation. Yes. Okay.
The bathrooms and like the locker rooms and stuff like that.
Got you.
So what I'm guessing is that this is some kind of Boys and Girls Club or some kind of park or something where kids are coming to get
Mhm.
healthy snacks and get exercise and stuff. So,
Mhm.
but it was just a complete farce. There was no actual business. There was no actual donations being made. And the thing is, a lot of people, like lawyers and attorneys and politicians and stuff that are talking about this case are like, he could have easily donated so much money because people would have given money just off the strength that it was Jared from Subway.
Right.
So he just literally didn't even make an attempt to actually do anything besides just be a creep. So I'm guessing that he started the foundation specifically to have access to children.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, because he wasn't initially
Yeah.
exchanging child pornography, but him and this guy Russell Taylor started exchanging child pornography, and Jared, I'm gonna say Jared is some kind of sociopath or something like that.
Mhm.
He is extremely manipulative because he would pretty much give this guy Russell Taylor all kind of lavish gifts, buy him cars. He actually bought him a house.
That sounds suspect. Not only are you abusing these kids, you also giving your accomplice lavish gifts.
Well, this is the thing. So when people are doing stuff like this, when people are committing crimes, when people do have power over someone, this is gonna keep Russell doing everything Jared asked him to do.
Okay.
So first is, okay, we got the cameras in the bathroom. Next is, we need to get cameras in these kids' bedrooms.
Yeah.
So then it's, okay, you got 3 cameras out there. Get 3 more out there. Get 3 more out there. And every time Russell is like, man, we need to, I don't know about this. This is going a little bit too far.
Yeah, it's getting a little too deep
Nigga,
for
I
me.
bought your house. You got
Right.
somewhere else to live? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was actually to the point where in their conversations, Jared will refer to himself as daddy to Russell.
What?
Yeah. Big nasty.
That's disgusting. Oh my god.
Yeah, Jared will refer to himself. So he would say something like, don't you like that house daddy bought you?
Oh.
Yeah, Jared was very, very, very sick. He was a very sick man. And actually it got to the point, so even just outside of being a pedophile, a pervert, and there's really no outside of that to me, but even before that, he just is a piece of shit. So he was actually married, and the first time he was married, he just cheated on his wife with several women.
Because he's not interested in women.
Well, he cheated on her with other women, but
He got another grown man calling, like, he trying to get another grown man to call him daddy.
I don't know if Russell actually called him daddy. He was referring to his, I think it was more so, I think that was less sexual and more of a power play.
The fact that he felt comfortable to be like, yeah, daddy, to another grown man.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. I think it was a power play because you got to think it's basically him saying, I had to buy you a house. I had to provide your family. I'm providing for your family. Like a father does.
Yeah, you're right. It's
I'm
a power
providing
play.
for you like you my son.
Oh.
So, Jared was just cheating on his wife. He actually was having an affair for like 5-10 years with this reporter, this lady that did interviews as well. And eventually it got to the point where she started recording him because he was telling her little stuff. So he would be making references to liking kids to her. But the thing for me is no matter what, she continued to communicate with him, continued to sleep with him. So she has him on recording saying stuff like, I don't have a preference, I just like everybody. I don't have an age preference, a race preference. And I'm going to say he could be suspect because he probably don't have a gender preference either.
Very suspect.
And so,
oh my goodness.
yeah, he basically insinuated to her on multiple occasions that he likes younger girls. He said that he told this girl that she looked sexy with her backpack on, this middle school girl.
What?
Yeah, she has him on recording saying this stuff.
Status, y'all.
And this was the thing, though. What pisses me off with her is that she gathered all this evidence over like a 2 to 4 year period, but she only turned it in and stopped talking to him when he asked her about her kids. Once he started being like,
oh, so everybody else's kids is up on the chopping block
game.
except for hers, right?
Once he said, would you be comfortable with me putting a camera in your kid's room? How would you feel about that?
Oh, he
That's
straight
when
up
she kinda
asked her. He
lost.
was
Yeah,
kind
he
of
straight up
bold.
asked her.
He was bold.
You know what I'm gonna say? Jared was a millionaire. He got paid like $1 million a year from Subway to do those commercials.
Really?
No, seriously.
Wow.
And you got to understand that, and I'm not making any kind of excuse justifying anything, but you got to understand he was about 22, 23 years old when he started doing these commercials. You know, he was in college.
Yeah.
So it's like when a person becomes a millionaire or just acquires, you know, a great deal of wealth at such a young age, you're going to have some issues.
Right.
You're going to have an inflated ego and an inflated sense of self.
Yeah.
So I agree with you completely when you say he was bold.
Very.
But I think that he was just very cocky. The marriage was just a cover. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
The marriage was a cover because it looks better, especially when you're dealing with professional people and corporate foundations and corporations and stuff like that, for a man to be married.
That's correct.
I totally agree it was just a cover. But, yeah, I think he was very cocky. I think that he thought
he couldn't get caught.
Yeah. I think he thought a lot of himself because it's like he did create a life that a lot of people can't do. A lot of people can't eat them sandwiches twice a day. Right. It seems so simple, but so many people cannot do it. Cannot stick to eating a veggie sub and a turkey sub with no mayo, no cheese.
That's hard.
Yeah, just meat and vegetables. So I commend that part, but then when you're a pervert after it, it's not, you know, it's not really impressive anymore. So, yeah, this lady turned over all this evidence to the FBI, but for some reason they still felt like it wasn't enough. So during all this time, Jared is just wilding the fuck out, honestly. This dude is sleeping with minors. He buying prostitutes. Yeah, and he's actually, like, asking these underage prostitutes, and I mean underage, like 16, 17, still too young. But he's asking them, can they get him girls even younger?
You know what this sounds like?
What's that?
Oh, what is that? Oh, man. It's, like, coming to my mind. The guy from New York, and he had like all those celebrities go to his island, but he was
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes, him. That's what this sounds like.
Oh yeah,
but like the Subway version.
Well, you know what, and I'm sure the Subway version. I'm sure that there's a name for this. I'm sure that there's research on it, but for a pedophile or a pervert, you have to. You can't just be out with that. So I'm sure that that's the only way. That's one of the very few ways that they can get access to other victims.
I don't know about that.
It's through saying no.
Because just out with that. R. Kelly is a perfect example of just people just
being out with it.
Yeah, just being out with it. Like people just pass him along. Like he ain't do nothing.
Well, but nah, even with R. Kelly. So R. Kelly was the one. R. Kelly victim said the same thing. He asked me, "Can I get him another girl?"
Yeah,
that's what they do. They have to. I mean, R. Kelly unfortunately was around. I mean, all these people are around a lot of weak-minded people that enable them and go along with the bullshit, the sick shit. But these people can't just be who they are out and open.
You right.
You can't just get on Instagram and be like,
yeah,
you know, where the teenage girls at?
It's like an underground. It's like they have to keep it on the hush. Like it's like an underground thing.
Because they know that. I mean, look what happened to R. Kelly ultimately. Yeah. And look what's gonna happen to Jared. So, anyways, somehow Russell Taylor, which is like I said, the director of. Make sure the quarters. Hopefully, y'all can hear me good. I was going in and out. I just got some info that the recording might be going in and out. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. Anyways, Russell Taylor was actually arrested back in April of 2011. And this was because he just also, like Jared, kind of got cocky. So he actually met this lady and he had been talking to her and she kind of felt uncomfortable around him, like he had kind of made some comments. But then he actually straight up told her, and for some reason, like I said, because she felt uncomfortable, she was recording him. He straight up told her that he can get her child pornography. So, to me, what that says is that this nigga is so sick that he don't even realize this is absurd. Yeah. He don't even realize that this is completely not okay. You know what I'm saying? So Russell was arrested. Of course, they searched his house and found like so much child pornography.
I can imagine.
And when I'm talking about terabytes,
Yeah,
like,
he been doing it for so long. I would imagine he got a lot in there.
But this is videos from the bathroom. It's videos from these kids' rooms. And I'm talking about dozens of cameras placed throughout the city. In Indiana, I believe it was, Indianapolis. So yeah, it was just disgusting. And some of it, they actually said that it was like he made child pornography out of it. So I don't know if that means that. I didn't really get to the point of figuring out if that meant that he actually had kids that he was having do stuff to each other, or if he just made it, you know, took the footage and made it something, you know,
made it something
manipulated
else.
it. But whatever the case was, he is in prison now, and he's gonna be in prison for about 15 years.
15 years for terabytes of child pornography.
Unfortunately, because his attorney was incompetent, some of his charges got overturned. So he was facing a life sentence, but some of his charges have since been overturned. But hopefully, once he goes to another trial, he just gets put back in there for that life sentence again. But Jared is actually, same thing, about 15, 20 years. So Jared is actually going to be... So anyway, well, hold on. Before I even get to Jared being sentenced, basically, of course, once Russell Taylor got arrested, he explained to them that his boss, Jared Fogle of the Jared Foundation, was the one who told him to put all these cameras in all these places.
Okay.
And of course, the police are kind of like, Jared from Subway? Like,
oh, yeah,
you lying? Get the fuck out of here. They didn't believe him at first. They
you
really
lying.
didn't believe him, yeah. So after that, they actually did have to investigate Jared, and they actually had the evidence from old girl who had submitted it, the interviewer. And then they actually had stuff from Subway that people had reported. So Subway. This was actually not even new. Yeah, people from Subway, other employees that worked with Jared on events and outings and like work trips and stuff had reported back to Subway stuff that he had said or done to make them uncomfortable. So there was actually a long paper trail of Jared kind of being in his world lucky enough to get overlooked because he was beneficial.
So you telling me employees have reported? Yes, employees have reported it. Other people reported it, and y'all just passed this along. That's absolutely insane. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that's to me, that's how it is a lot of times. And to me, this is bottom of the barrel.
It is.
This is Jared from Subway. He make $1 million a year, which is it's some money. Of course, it's a lot more than what I make yearly, but
facts.
Imagine like a Jeffrey Epstein, where we're talking about politicians, actors, other millionaires. We're talking about billionaires. These people live in this under society where
anything is possible as long as you got money.
Anything is possible as long as you got money, and the whole code is secrecy.
Yep.
So nobody's saying nothing. So it's very scary. And in some of these cases, so like I said, Jared would actually text these girls. So some of the text messages they recovered was, they said he would find adult escorts on the internet, develop relationships with them, and then offer them a finder's fee to provide him with access to minors for commercial sex. And by commercial sex,
that sounds exactly like
Epstein. For sex.
But they all got a handbook or something they go by to be a pedophile. It seems like it.
I don't even know if it's a handbook, but like I said, you're dealing with overall the undercarriage of society because he's dealing with prostitutes. And there's nothing wrong with, if you're a sex worker, you're a sex worker.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, because of the nature of sex work, typically it's not women that have a support system. It's not women that are mentally stable or financially, doing okay. So he's telling these women, I can pay you a finder's fee. I'll pay you if you can bring me a 14 or a 15-year-old. any decent woman with common sense is gonna report you to the nearest
Correct.
authority. But because we dealing with women that the police don't believe anyways, imagine a prostitute that's known for being picked up for prostitution. She go to the police and say,
yeah,
Jared from Subway is trying to.
Like, nah.
They're gonna be like, no, you just want to get your charges dismissed, huh?
Right.
You know what did you do to Jared from Subway? So, like I said, it's just so much secrecy, so much hiding, so much cover up. But as of right now, like I said, Jared has been arrested. He is in prison, but he is facing probation or parole in in 2029.
Not Jared trying to cover his face. Like, we can't see him. Oh, man. But yeah.
So this dude is possibly going to be able to get out in 2029. And to me, that's just too soon.
It is too soon. Especially considering all of that child pornography that he had in his house.
So the way that I would think that it's done, I thought it was done like by image.
Image?
That's what I would think. That you get charged for each image.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about that.
So if he has thousands of pictures, minutes of video, probably hours of video, and plus you're exchanging it, that's a whole nother crime. Like, I'm not even understanding how this dude only got 15 years. And you victimize, so like these kids, they're gonna grow up not being able to trust anything. They're fucking traumatized. Right.
But you know what? I'm not surprised because it's like I've known people who've gotten 6-month sentences for, child abuse or
that's something crazy.
Like that. Yeah, I know it's crazy.
In this situation, I just feel like it should be additional charges just for the way that he went about it.
It should be.
Because the Jared Foundation, you created this foundation as a farce.
You did.
You never intended to actually have a business that was dedicated to
helping these kids.
Combat childhood obesity. Which it would have been dope if that's what you actually did.
I honestly feel like had he did right with the business and the foundation, Subway would probably still be very much attached to him because not only have they. You don't think so?
At the end of the day, you're still a pervert. You're still
no. I'm talking about like if it wasn't like any child porn, like if he did right.
Subway was still dealing with him.
Yeah, I think it would be like a pass down and be like, okay, well we started with Jared, but now he started his foundation, so now we're gonna sponsor kids from the foundation. It could have been a nice marketing thing, but he really messed it up.
That's what it was supposed to be. But yeah, Jared he started this business with the intention of getting access to young children, and that's just fucking sick.
It is sick.
It's really disgusting because it's like you can't trust like celebrities anyway. So people got to know, like, look, when you dealing with these celebrities, just because they have a persona, that doesn't mean that's really who they are.
Correct.
And we have to stop being so blinded by fame and stuff like that. Like, we don't know these people. Let's just go back to people like releasing their kids to just random strangers.
Ooh.
Like people taking their kids, even speaking of R. Kelly, taking their kids to R. Kelly.
Yep.
Thinking that he's going to make them famous. Like,
it goes so deep, y'all. Like, child pornography and like the industry and how the industry is connected to child pornography. Like, it goes super deep. Super, super deep.
I'm sure.
People don't even understand.
I don't want to understand. I think that if you are exchanging child pornography, if you are viewing child pornography, if you are, and especially in this case specifically, without any type of consent, recording these kids, you need the highest maximum possible sentence.
I agree.
So Jared from Subway, I hope you rot in prison.
Me too.
I wish the very worst for you. That nigga look like a creep.
Yeah, he
honestly
does. Like
how did we trust him? How did this what America do? They just put a random fucking white guy.
Being able to relate to somebody who's overweight.
Yeah.
And his story was inspiring, and that's really what took us and made us trust him.
Yep, that guy looks trustworthy. He looked like a nice guy. But
yeah.
And you know what? I can't believe that this dude was like 22, 23 when he first started. That's an old ass looking dude.
Yeah.
Like Jared looked like he was 40 in those commercials.
You know what they say? White
What?
people who are unproblematic age gracefully compared to people who cause trouble.
Like he was probably like 26, 27 right
He
here.
look
This dude
old
look
as hell.
41 minimum.
Minimum. He do look old, man.
He
Like
do.
for real.
You can just tell. You know what?
He look
People
off.
like this. Yes, he looks off. Like I'm scared of somebody like this because they got like he got the typical. It looks like he trying too hard to look like a typical white guy.
And
he got the glasses, the haircut.
Right.
It's just
the creepy smile.
It's scary. This is the most look, who runs like that? Like this dude looks scary.
He does. He does indeed.
This is the most dangerous.
And look at them running behind him.
Right.
Don't
they
even
just
know.
running on side of him. Don't even know he got child pornography probably in his pocket.
Right. Oh, not the pocket.
On his cell phone.
Oh, you know what? You right. You are so right.
A pervert.
Dang, man.
And we all going to Subway eating sandwiches and shit.
I don't like Subway. I've never been a Subway girl. I've always been a Firehouse girl. Or a Quiznos. Those who remember Quiznos know what's real. I love Quiznos.
I don't like Quiznos.
What?
I like cousin subs.
Cousins?
Yeah.
That must be a Texas thing.
No, it's a Midwest thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, yeah, if you're in Milwaukee and you're in Chicago, you already know Cousins is where it's at. Under the jail should be his confinement. Like, seriously.
Period.
The fact that he's getting out in 8 years is so scary to me.
Yeah. And he gonna come back out and do the same thing.
When they say hide your kids, hide your wives,
that's
like,
what they mean.
When you're talking about a person that knows how to use cameras and use hidden cameras and access, VPNs and all kind of hidden data and shit like that, like he not just gonna stop.
Good. Well, I got a question. Do you know what his major was in college?
I believe it was marketing.
Marketing?
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say if it was like computer science or like information systems or anything like that, that wouldn't even surprise me.
It wouldn't. But no, it was marketing. That was part of the reason why Subway took him on.
Oh, okay.
They came up with a marketing plan together.
Gotcha.
So yeah, like I said, Jared from Subway. Like I said, I wish the worst for you. He did actually get his ass beat in prison already.
As he should, because they don't play that. They don't play that.
I'm not looking forward to him getting out. I'm disgusted. Children, you don't play with children, and the fact that you victimize these people that are gonna grow up and not even feel comfortable getting undressed in their own room.
Yeah, that's the sad part about it.
Found out something like that happened to you. You living in a constant state of looking over your shoulder.
Yeah,
because you had no idea.
I know people who are like that.
So yeah, I don't think that you get to traumatize people like that and then get out and live a regular life. Mm-hmm. So Jared, you're gonna have to live with that for the rest of your life. I hope it's hard to deal with. Yep. I don't wish you any type of peace at all. But with all that being said, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next story. To the next segment rather. This true crime story actually wasn't that bad because nobody died.
Right.
We just dealing with just a shitty ass person. Mm-hmm. Excuse my language. But just a horrible, horrible person. So, anyway, we're going to move on to the next segment. Like I said, this is the Black Podcast Show. Only podcast show online hosted by me. Next segment we're going to get into is the Tae Talk. And we're going to give out some advice. Are you ready for that?
Me giving out advice? I can try my best.
Okay.
I can definitely try my best.
I'm going to say this. I actually am highly qualified to give out advice.
Oh, so you a certified expert?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely. And so being that I invited you on my show to be a guest and join me to give out this advice, I deem that you are
an expert
qualified as well. Oh. Absolutely. Highly qualified.
All right. I wear my badge of honor. Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to jump into some Am I the Asshole? These people have gone to Reddit because they are just in dire straits. And they need advice. Okay. They don't know. They need some help. And we're going to provide that to them. So let's get the first one going. Lama, what do you have for me? Am I the asshole? Let me see if I can pull it up as well. All right. The first one I have is, am I the asshole for calling my husband gross and banning him from bathing our son?
Oh, Lord.
I'm going to say not the asshole right off bat because I'm not sure why she would say that. Most women won't help from their husband with the kids.
So I gotta figure out if it is he a asshole or not. Like,
is she an asshole or
is
not
she a asshole? Okay.
in this situation? So let me read it to you.
Okay.
All right, I'm a 27-year-old female, and my husband is a 30-year-old male. We have an 8-month-old son together. He's such a blessing, but as new parents, we're fairly exhausted and are just trying to take it one day at a time. My husband helps big time and is super involved as a father, though he can be clueless at times when it comes to our son's care. I handle the big tasks, like feeding, obviously, changing and bathing, while he handles cleaning up mess, rearranging sheets, blankets, and doing some cleaning on the side. Yesterday morning, I went out to do some grocery shopping and left my husband with our son at home. Our son was sleeping. I told my husband there wasn't much work required from him, and I would be back in an hour, so he sat on the couch and checked his social media accounts. I came back an hour later, and once I entered the apartment, I heard my son cry loudly. I entered the kitchen quickly and saw my husband placing our son inside the kitchen sink and looked like he was giving him a bath. I got mad seeing our son crying loudly. I asked my husband what the fuck he was doing, and he said he was trying to give our son a bath. I called him gross and grabbed a towel and removed our son from inside the sink. My husband asked what I was doing, and I lashed out, calling him gross to think it's okay to bathe our son in the kitchen sink and potentially harm him since there were glasses/sharp tools nearby. I told him it wasn't his job and he should have done it, or that he shouldn't have done it, and that he's banned from doing it again. He threw a fit, saying I'm treating him as less of a parent and me dictating how he bonds with our son. We got into a screaming match, and he called me controlling and selfish, and that as a father, he should do his fair share of our son's care. I straight up told him his attitude wasn't in our son's best interest, and he should stop whining about what he gets and doesn't get to do since I don't give him more than he can handle. He stormed off and is still sulking and ignoring me to this day. Am I the asshole? Was I too hard on him?
Ooh. I'm going to say this. You know what? I'm in between, because it's like, for men, it's like men are just gross. I mean, they're just gross. Like, they're just not as clean as women. I know some men who do clean up very well and they keep themselves clean, but I also know men who are completely gross. And sometimes, like, stuff like that can go over their heads. Like, for men, it's like, you don't think about the fact that you're not supposed to be bathing your child in the bathrooms, the kitchen sink. But it's like, when they feel like they're trying to help, it can kind of be like, they don't think about the logistics. They just think about getting it done, and they don't think about the other parts. But I mean, I understand, like, it's definitely disgusting to bathe your child in the kitchen sink. But I feel like you should have given him some grace, considering the fact that it seems like you do everything for the child anyway. Like, it seems like you do everything, and it doesn't seem like you teach him, like, hey, you know, if I was to be gone or something, this is how we typically bathe our child. This is how we, you know. I
don't think that's uncommon though. Actually, like,
in the kitchen
sink, in a sink.
I've heard of washing hair in the sink. Now bathroom
I'm talking
sink,
about a little kid. I mean, what's the difference? Kitchen sink.
It's not a difference, but it's so crazy though, because I see people do it a lot in the bathroom, but not in the kitchen.
I mean, I've seen people do it in the kitchen, because I see sometimes people actually have like a little
tub. No?
Not necessarily a tub, but they actually have like a little seat, like a bath seat that they put the kid in, and it fits better in the kitchen sink. In the kitchen sink that doesn't have the divider in the middle.
Okay,
that's what I've seen people
do.
So to me, I feel like I'm gonna just say it. You are the asshole. I'm gonna call this lady Tia. I don't know why she giving me Tia vibes, but yeah, Tia, you sound like a total bitch. If I could just speak frankly.
I mean,
like, okay,
I want to try and see the best side. Like, I want to try and, like, understand both people, because for him it was probably him just trying to help, but then for her it's like, why are you washing our child in the sink? That is gross as hell.
This what I'm gonna say. She says, I entered the kitchen quickly and saw my husband placing our son in the kitchen sink and looked like he was giving him a bath. I got mad and loudly asked my husband what the fuck he was doing. She put that. She said, I asked my husband WTF he was doing, and he said he was trying to give our son a bath. Even though she already said it looked like he was giving our son a bath. So why did you even ask? And then you're gonna say, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like
that's kind of harsh.
setting the scene for it to be some animosity and some tension and some anger and some defensiveness.
That was kind of harsh.
And then she said, "I called him gross and grabbed a towel and removed our son from the sink." And then he asked what I was doing, and I lashed out. Like, she sound like a piece of work. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, she does sound like a piece of work, y'all.
Because at the end of the day, that's his son too.
Correct.
And obviously, he's seen somebody bathe a kid in the sink before to make him. Most men not gonna just be like. If anything, I would have expected him to be giving a kid a bath in the tub, and for her to be like, "You can't just put a fucking 8-month-old in the tub. What are you doing?" That would have made more sense.
Right.
But he washing him in the sink, which means he's standing right there, like he gonna wash him up and get him out. He probably have seen his mom do that.
Yeah. That was me. I guess I'm gonna side with you. You are an asshole because like he was trying.
Yeah.
He was trying to be, and then you left. And then on top of that, it was like if you felt like the child needed a bath, why you didn't give it before? You know, if you claim you do everything for the child, why you didn't give it before you left?
Why you didn't give it before you left? And then why are you I can see Tia. She seemed like the type that'd get mad if he not doing something. Mm-hmm. So if she would have came home and he would have had like some milk, caked up in his little neck rolls or whatever, she would have been mad. Like, why you didn't wipe the baby up? Now you mad because he giving the baby a bath in the sink. You can't win with it. Tia, he can't win. And honestly, you probably need to get it together before you end up
without a husband.
Yeah.
Divorced.
That's where I see this going.
It's giving divorce vibes.
It's definitely giving divorce vibes. Because he's not going to stick around for this type of bullshit much longer. Talking about, I told him his attitude wasn't in our son's best interest. Your attitude
he was
is
trying.
Not in right.
I think it's in the best interest of the child. He was trying to do something.
Honestly, your husband seemed like a nice guy. You seemed like a total bitch.
Like he was trying, yeah.
So, Tia, you're the asshole. We're going to move on from this one. Hopefully you don't get cheated on, Tia. All right, so the next one we have. Would I be the asshole if I don't go to my daughter's wedding? I'm going to say yes. Right off the bat.
Yeah, definitely asshole.
Okay. So let's see if our
maybe
opinions
mad
change.
now, but you ain't gonna be mad forever. So you might want to
exactly
slide to that wedding. You get what I'm saying?
But let's see what the scenario is.
Okay.
About 10 years ago, a close friend of our daughter's came out as gay. This friend in particular
Here we go.
slept over at our house so much that she was almost like a daughter to us. We even had a separate bed in our daughter's bedroom just for her. When we found out she was gay, our husband and I had a discussion about whether we should continue to let her sleep in our daughter's bedroom or if we should move her to the guest room. We were hesitant, but we had a conversation with our daughter, who was 17 at the time, and she told us that even if her friend tried anything, she would shut it down because she was straight. It made sense. We believed our daughter was trustworthy and responsible, so we allowed the friend to continue sleeping in her room. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. They finished senior year and went off to college. We never suspected anything. Every time they would come home for the holidays, my daughter brought a boy with her, and my daughter's friend brought a girl with her. Come to find out, the boy we thought was our daughter was dating was actually dating the girl that we thought our daughter's friend was dating.
It's messy.
And the way we found out is because one day I get an invitation in the mail to a wedding for our daughter and her friend. I was so confused. I called my daughter thinking there had been some type of typo or something. A typo.
Well, first of all, at that point, it wouldn't be her friend. It would be her fiance. So get it right.
Oh.
Title.
Okay.
Period.
Facts.
Put some respect on it.
No answer. I called a friend and I can barely ask what's going on before the friend breaks down crying and confesses that her and my daughter have been in a relationship for a decade.
God
which was
damn.
around the time we agreed to let her sleep in our daughter's room.
Ooh.
My husband and I feel so betrayed. Our daughter gets on the phone and says, "Mom, Dad, I know you're upset and I promise we'll talk after the wedding. I'll explain everything." I said, "Okay, we'll talk after the wedding." I hang up. The next day she calls me. I pick up and say, "Why are you calling me? I thought you didn't want to talk until after the wedding." She said, we are, but I wanted to know what times you're available so we can get measured for our dresses. I said, what do you mean we?
Oh.
You don't think your father and I are going to your wedding, do you? You lied to us for 10 years for no reason. And you expect us to just automatically disregard that? We'll talk after the wedding. I haven't spoken to my daughter since then, and the wedding is sometime this month. My husband and I have been getting a lot of calls from family members on both sides telling us that we're being selfish for ruining our daughter's special day over something that happened 10 years ago. Am I the asshole?
Drama. Okay, let's start out with that, because that's a lot of drama. Oh. Yes and no. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say yeah, you are the asshole. My thing is, before, like I said, before we even started, this am I the asshole, I was like, you may be mad now, but you're not gonna be mad forever. Yeah. So I feel like you should still show up and support your daughter, because that is your child. But I can also understand the betrayal that you feel, because like, it's a decade. Yeah, that's 10 years. Like, y'all just been chilling, acting like nothing's going on. So y'all decided to keep y'all relationship from your parents for 10 years. That's a long time.
And I think that's the part where I'm kind of like, I disagree with the people that are calling them, saying that they selfish for something that happened 10 years ago, because it didn't happen 10 years ago. It's been 10 years in the making. Like, y'all have been in a secret relationship for 10 years.
Yep.
Y'all was only underage for 1 year of that. So why for the last 9 years have y'all been lying? That's the part where I'm with the parents, because it's like, yeah, I get back then why you lied. I get that, but now it's like,
you're grown.
So for 10 years you continue to lie.
Yep.
You came back from college,
putting on the whole show. Yeah.
And even then, it's like, okay, then we probably could have bounced back and forgave it. Right. But you've been lying this whole like, this girl is at least 27. So
that's an interesting age.
But it's like, at this point, you're grown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you still didn't even. And I mean, I'm gonna say this. I do get it, because perhaps these. I kind of get it, but I kind of don't, because I was gonna say perhaps these people are religious, and they not really like cool with the gay thing. Yeah. But they accepted the friend, and they never treated her any different. So.
But you gotta keep in mind that it was a friend at the time. It wasn't their daughter. People treat subway situation where old girl was just like, yeah, I know that these children are being abused, but when it comes to my children, no, that's why I draw the line. It's kind of like that. You can accept somebody's kid all day long, but when it comes down to your child, you may react differently.
That's true. But she also never gave them the opportunity.
That's true, too.
How do you just pop out with a wedding invitation?
Mm-hmm. That's kind of disrespectful.
Yeah, I agree. It's somewhat disrespectful. She should have had to talk with them first.
Definitely.
So,
yeah.
I'm going to actually say not the asshole. I mean, you've kind of still the asshole for not going to the wedding. I'm going to say, you know what? Actually, there's a reason why your daughter didn't tell you.
Mm-hmm. It's something that they said, some type of action that make them feel like they weren't comfortable enough to come in and just put their relationship out there on the line.
Yes, because there's no reason. In 10 years, this girl is grown. Yep. Obviously, she doesn't even live with you. She's not financially dependent on you, it sounds like. So it's no reason that she would have lied this whole entire time.
Yeah. We still trying to debate if they're the asshole.
Oh man, actually, yeah, I'm gonna just say
I'm sticking with yes, because I feel like you should support your child no matter what.
So this is the thing with these am I the asshole? Sometimes it's additional information. So I just want to check really quick and see is there some additional information. Where is it? Because maybe sometimes people put stuff like a comment or something.
Mhm.
Okay, there's only one comment. It's kind of a long one. This is kind of an update, so I'm gonna actually read it.
Ooh, it's an update.
Somebody,
Let's go.
yes, somebody responded and said, "You're the asshole. It sounds like it wasn't a very safe place for your daughter to be open about her preferences as she was
Mhm.
growing up," which is what we said.
Yeah.
Be happy that she found a partner for life and happiness. Put your own hurt aside and reflect on why it may have been that your daughter chose to be closed with you. Go to her wedding, but only if you can be quiet and let them have their day completely and with love in your heart. Do not do one thing that ruins anything for them.
Mhm.
She responded and said, I think that's part of what's bothering me so much because my husband and I have always... Shit, hold on. My husband and I have always shown love and acceptance to everybody, and our daughter knows that. So for her to feel like we weren't safe enough for her to tell us in 10 years that she was gay, it hurts, you know? And it's definitely something I'm going to bring up in our talk. And I can understand that coming out is a difficult process, and that it takes time for different people to come to that place of acceptance where they feel comfortable enough to share such a deeply intimate and personal part of who they are. But every time I think about it, I can't get over the fact that she lied to us for 10 years. This wasn't a one moment in time thing like our family is trying to make it seem like. Mm-hmm. It's not as if they slept together and then we found out about it 10 years later.
Right.
For 10 years, they actively concocted and acted out this extra unnecessary facade where they had friends from their college pretend to be their partners in order to what? Pull a prank on us? Have a laugh at our expense? Smile in our faces? They abused our trust? Fine. But then how can you just pop up with a wedding? No explanation, no apology, just a nonchalant, almost indifferent, I know we lied to you for 10 years, but just pretend like that didn't happen until I have my day. Then we can talk about how you feel or whatever.
Or whatever.
That's how it sounds and feels to me. I'm just so twisted up right now. And I feel like both of those comments are fair. Like the person that wrote her and said that, and her response makes sense too. So I'm gonna say possibly the asshole, but slightly justified.
That's walking on the thin line.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I can understand where they coming from, because that was extra as hell. Y'all put up this whole act and dance for 10 years and then brought other people into your madness. That's what's killing me. Y'all got people from college to come home and act like they was with y'all, knowing damn well y'all was sitting up there and y'all was doing.
And I wonder what they was thinking. Like, damn, her parents must be
right.
So yeah, I agree with everything the mom said. So I'm gonna just actually not say not the asshole, because there's just too many emotions for her to just be like, okay, I accept it. You know, the daughter owes her at least an explanation.
She does.
So not the asshole. But to not go to her wedding.
Right. You may be mad now, but you're not gonna be mad forever.
She might be mad for 10 years though.
But it's not forever. I just don't see them not coming back from this.
I'm gonna still say not the asshole.
Okay.
Because it's just like she said, 10 years of active deception.
Yeah. This is a 10-year-old player. Like,
all right, let's go to the next one. Am I the asshole for charging my roommate gas money after making her split the cost of a parking pass with me? For context, my girlfriend and I live in a major city with our best friend. Our apartment building is right... Actually, I'm not going to do this one because it already says asshole. And I can't stop looking at that.
Okay.
All right, next one. It's going to be the last one, actually. Am I the asshole for telling my wife it's embarrassing that she gave our daughter's bus driver cookies? Some important details. My wife is very shy but enjoys giving and is all gung-ho about showing appreciation. Oh, shit. Oh, that light.
It's okay. It's okay. It is
okay. Am I the asshole for telling my wife it's embarrassing she gave our daughter's bus driver cookies? Okay, let's start over. My wife is very shy but enjoys giving and is all gung-ho about showing appreciation to workers she assumes aren't appreciated or recognized. She tries to pass these beliefs on to our kids. Because she's too silent to show her appreciation, she does it through gifts, usually baked goods. I've been embarrassed about this in the past. Our oldest rode the school bus for the first time. My wife was waiting at the bus stop with our daughter and had in her hand the bus driver a bag of homemade cookies. Then when she picked her up from the stop in the afternoon, she gave a bag of cookies to the afternoon driver. I asked her why she did that when she could have easily just said thank you and left it at that. She said the bus drivers work so hard having to comfort all the nervous kids and handling the unbehaved ones while driving. They deserve more than a thanks. I reminded her that this has embarrassed me in the past, and I think her behaviors are too extreme.
Oh.
I wouldn't want gifts from someone I don't know.
Child.
She ignored how I felt. I contacted some people in my life to see if I was just the crazy one here, and most of my friends and my mom agree. My wife's way of showing thanks just makes everyone uncomfortable. Am I the asshole?
Well, everybody, you and all the other people you consulted and said that it was something wrong with it. It's nothing wrong with somebody showing thanks.
Right.
That's like a parent giving a teacher an apple, or like you making a casserole for somebody who just moved into your freaking neighborhood. Like,
Yes.
people show appreciation by giving food, and gifts. I don't know how he grew up or what he had going on as to why he feel like he can accept gifts from people he doesn't know.
I agree. When I read this one, I was just kind of like,
Yeah, you tripping.
what's the issue?
Yeah.
This guy, I'm going to call this guy David. I don't know
Sound
why,
like
but yeah.
David.
He sound like a David. Like you just, for some reason, think the world revolves around you.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you said at the very end, let me see. This is what you said to let me know that you are like some kind of narcissist. I wouldn't want gifts from someone I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
She ignored how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first of all, this literally has nothing to do with you, David.
At all.
Like, none of this has nothing to do with you. Your wife is baking cookies for the bus driver.
Sound like a nice lady, too.
Right. But
Really
this
nice
has
lady.
no impact on David's life.
At all.
Like, David could just act like this never happened and nothing would be different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if David, you know what it really sounds like? It sounds like David is sitting up thinking, she didn't bake me a dozen cookies.
Jealousy.
That's what it sounds like.
It does sound like jealousy.
Because then he said, I contacted some people in my life to see if I was just the crazy one. The fact that the people in your life didn't say, nigga, are you really calling me about this?
Right.
Yes, all of y'all are crazy. My friends, you said most of my friends, which I think that's a lie, and my mom agree. Then you say, my wife's way of showing thanks makes everyone uncomfortable. No, it makes some of your friends and you and your mom uncomfortable. That's
right.
not, y'all are not everybody. People like this think the whole world just revolve around them.
You mad at your wife for baking some cookies and giving it to the bus driver?
That's some sick shit. David, it sounds like you are a mama's boy.
Yep.
It sounds like your mom go along with everything
Mm-hmm.
he say, and like, it sound like you got a nice lady on your hands. Sound like your wife is a great person,
Mm-hmm.
and shit.
And thinks of others.
I'm interested in some of these cookies, honestly.
Right. Because they sound good. The way he going on about it.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Like, for these cookies to have you so riled up to the point where you're embarrassed.
Right.
And what was I'm kind of curious to know about the other situation, because he said multiple times, I've been embarrassed about this in the past. So what was the other situation where he was embarrassed by her showing appreciation to a service worker?
Who knows? He probably just...
And then he said she's too shy to just say thank you.
That's her way of saying things.
But my thing is, like, this lady is clearly not that shy. If she's giving somebody bags of cookies, I doubt that she just reaching in the bus and throwing the cookies at the driver. Like,
right.
I'm sure she's saying,
you gotta have some
so
type
much
of conversation before you give somebody some cookies. Like, that would be odd to just drop off some cookies and keep going.
So, David, I feel like you actually don't even know your wife, because I bet this lady is not shy. My wife is very shy but enjoys giving. Like, those two things kind of don't really go hand in hand.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah, you are the asshole.
Big asshole.
I think you kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just a strange
That
guy.
is, yeah.
So let's move on. We're gonna move on. I just want to talk about a couple current events before we go ahead and wrap the show up.
Okay.
I hope you got a few more minutes to chat.
Yeah.
You think so?
I do.
Okay, perfect. So if you're watching, actually go ahead and feel free and leave a reaction, a like, a love,
Yeah.
care, an angry reaction if you feel like you need to, and
Right.
go ahead and hit the share button, and you're gonna help us move forward and go up.
Okay.
So recently, Joe Biden, who is our current president, actually held a press conference, and he was stating that by November, all government workers need to be vaccinated. And this is a mandatory vaccination at this point.
Mandatory.
What do you think
You,
about that?
you know when they start saying the stuff is mandatory, you have to put things in your body and it's a mandatory thing. God knows what else is to come.
Seriously.
Because the fact that y'all are trying to dictate what people put in their bodies is absolutely absurd. Like, that's not. Is this the land of the free? That's what they say, right?
That's what they say.
I don't believe so. Not if y'all sitting up here telling people that they have to take a vaccination.
That's what they're saying. We have
To work for
take
the
this
government.
vaccination.
The same government who say we all free, right? Yeah, okay.
I think that, yeah, I agree. When we get to a point where they're saying you have to have this injected into your body, it's kind of scary.
Reminds me of like the mark of the beast or something like that.
Yes.
Hmm.
It just makes me wonder
It's creepy as hell.
what's next. It makes me wonder. It just makes me wonder. You know, like I'm not a. Well, I am a big conspiracy theorist. I find
I believe
conspiracy
in
theories
conspiracies too.
interesting.
Yeah.
But it just makes me wonder, what is COVID-19 really? Is it an illness that came about somewhat randomly and just turned into a pandemic?
They trying to blame it on China, but I feel like it was lab created. That's what I feel like. And they dropped it off in China and that's what happened. I don't feel like this is something that just came about because, like, if you look up coronavirus, they say it's a common cold.
Yes.
It's
I've seen
not.
that.
It's not like a deadly virus. So I'm just trying to figure out, where do we stop telling lies and where do we, just decide, hey, we just not going to put up with this. Because at this point, this whole mandate situation, the government telling you that you got to put something in your body against your, if you want to keep working for them, against your will, that's crazy to me.
I mean, to me, it starts with the government workers.
Yeah. And then it's going to trickle down to the rest of us.
To the rest of us, absolutely. So I think that it's very concerning. I'm just wondering. It just seemed like everything happened so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, you got to get this vaccine because if you don't get it, you're going to die.
Yeah.
If you don't get it, you're going to be hooked up to a ventilator.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't get it, this is going to happen. But guess what? If you get it, we give you $100.
Right.
If you get it, we give you $200. If you get it, we'll give you some free weed.
Mm-hmm.
If you get it, we'll do this. We'll do that. Like,
it's like they trying to persuade us at in every instance to go ahead and break down and get it.
but
It's
my
like
thing
incentives.
is, it's so many preventative measures
Mm-hmm.
that could have been put in place to
Yeah.
prevent something like this. Y'all wasn't willing to do that. Y'all wasn't
Nope.
willing to give us $100 before that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't willing to give out these free vaccinations.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, where does all this money and stuff come from?
Everything in the healthcare industry costs money, but all of a sudden now, COVID-19
vaccine
come
is
and the
free.
vaccine is absolutely free.
Matter of fact, they're gonna
Free
pay you.
$99.
No, they're gonna pay you.
Yeah, they gonna pay. Depends on some people though. Well, some places. I know some people
A
that's
lot of
just giving it
places.
out free, and then some people who have incentives for you to get the COVID-19 vaccine.
A lot of places have incentives. Even like schools were telling students they could get a gift card for getting the
That's
vaccine.
crazy.
Yeah, so it's just, it could, I just don't know. I genuinely just don't know. At the risk of sounding ignorant, I don't want to say the wrong thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I just,
That's not
all
something
this
I
is
agree
just,
with.
What?
Long story short, just people having to be having to take a vaccine that they don't want to take. If they haven't taken it by now, they don't want to take it.
I mean, but it's also a public health concern. So is you saying, "Oh, I don't want to take it," but is you saying that you don't want to take it going to cause me to get COVID-19? And then is that going to cause me to pass it on to my grandmother or my auntie or someone that has previous health issues? So
I would see if it was preventing COVID-19 altogether. But it's still a possibility that you could get sick and deathly ill after the vaccine, after you've taken it.
But on top of that, it seemed like the cases was going down at one point.
Yep.
And then a vaccination come out, everything. And now all of a sudden the hospital bed is filling back up again.
Scary thought.
So yeah, I just I'm kind of torn on it, honestly. I don't really know what I think about it. Joe Biden as the president, ultimately he has to make a decision. Whether we think it's right or wrong, he does have to make a decision. And as a person that is saying I need to do what I can to prevent the spread of this deadly disease, then I'm going to have to make a leadership call and say, if you don't have this vaccination, you can't work here anymore. So, I mean, I feel like that's his position, and I understand that at the same time. Yeah. So, also, we was talking about, you and I was talking about Drake's new album. What you think? Certified Lover Boy?
Ooh, man. First of all, let's talk about the marketing, because I know, like, the business aspect of me, I love talking about stuff like that, because very inspiring. But the way he rolled out this album, absolutely phenomenal. It was a phenomenal rollout.
What you think the cover?
The cover, I don't know if you saw those billboards that were like in New York and stuff. And it was like,
the GOAT is on.
So and so is on Certified Lover Boy. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the Kanye and Drake banter back and forth, because allegedly it was said that Drake was holding his album because Kanye came out with his album and it was going to drop around the same time. So I kind of appreciated that healthy, competition. Yeah. But that's the marketing aspect. As far as the album, typical Drake fashion, giving the captions for the IG. But as far as like the sound, I don't think it's anything experimental. Like he's not really he's not putting out a new sound. Like I feel like this is the same Drake that I've been hearing for the past decade, almost a decade.
Yes,
some tracks
over a decade.
Yeah. Over a decade. Sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna say I agree with you on that. It was nothing particularly innovative about the sounds he chose. But I will say I enjoyed this album as being a classic. To me, it's a classic Drake. But also we got rapper Drake. Yeah. A lot. Yeah. So honestly, I don't like a lot of Drake's albums because me as a rap fan, when I listen to a rap album, that's what I want to hear. Right. I don't want to hear all the singing and all the auto-tune is cool, but not
on every track.
Yeah, and all the rock and roll. So Kanye's album, for instance, and just to kind of piggyback off what you said about the healthy competition and the marketing aspect of that, I think that I actually wasn't sure whether these guys was actually beefing or not until they both dropped these albums, and I'm like, man, these motherfuckers are smart. Yeah, because they played us this whole time.
They did. They did.
Like, I do not believe that this was nothing coincidental. All this was calculated, I'm sure.
I mean, yeah, I believe some of it was, but I really believe some of it was up in the air because it's like, they had those allegedly Kim and Drake had messed around before. So I don't know if that's like something that is still holding true. But I mean, from my understanding, Kanye was like, it's no beef. So, but that was a great marketing ploy though.
That's what I think. I think it was marketing from the time when Pusha T and Drake was beefing.
Oh yeah.
I think all of it was.
Well, that was around Scorpion. I think Scorpion came out shortly after all that broke, and then Certified Lover Boy came out.
Yeah.
But I can't say I didn't enjoy the album because the album is good. It's just nothing new from Drake.
Well, like I said, I agree with that. I think the lyrics were really good though.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was less. To me, this was just it was an all around good album.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's some Instagram captions, but it's like it's some real shit on some of the songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's so important for our artists to grow lyrically.
Right.
So some of the lyrics I thought was really good. Most of the lyrics I thought was really good. Then you got a few that's just like straight up club bangers.
Yeah.
It wasn't a whole bunch of whining and stuff on this album, and I liked that.
Yeah.
I did. It wasn't sad. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was pretty upbeat majority of the time.
I mean, misogynistic Drake was
Yeah,
very
prevalent.
much present. Yes.
It was.
But it was. I thought it was a good album. Like I said, like he just was rapping the whole album.
Yeah.
Like rapping. And so I think this is like mixtape Drake, and I appreciated that. So
Okay. I can agree with that. He did.
I feel like Scorpion was it Scorpio or Scorpion?
Scorpion.
Scorpion was too long.
Very much. I enjoyed this album, Certified Lover Boy, more than I enjoyed Scorpion.
This is probably one of the Drake albums I've enjoyed the most in a while.
Really? What's your favorite Drake album? If you had to pick one that you put on repeat, no skips.
Hold on. You tell me yours first.
I'm going to say my favorite Drake album is Nothing Was the Same. I love Nothing Was the Same. And then Take Care is a close second. Like
Everybody loved Take Care, but I did not like Take Care.
Really?
I really didn't.
It was a lot of R&B Drake on Take Care.
It was.
It was. But
I'ma
it's still
say,
a masterpiece, though.
Man, if you're reading This Is Too Late, that's high on my list.
Yeah.
That's like definitely one of my favorite Drake records. Thank Me Later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the first. That was like
That's
the
his
first
first
Drake album that I had on
Take
repeat.
Care. Yeah, Thank Me Later. I had that on repeat for sure. I mean,
Take Care.
Take Care.
I Over My Dead Body is my shit, y'all. I play the hell out of this song.
Shot for Me, Headlines.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Underground Kings.
Look What
Love
You've Done.
Underground
That song
Kings.
was weird as hell.
Which
hell yeah,
one?
fucking right. Look What You've Done. The
You
song
think
about his
Look What You-
mom. That song was kind of weird.
You think? Wait, Look What You've Done was about his mom.
Yeah.
I thought it was about a girl. I thought it was about somebody he dated.
No, that's why it
Ooh.
was weird.
Oh my goodness. I didn't even know that. Well, now that you done said, I
Can't
love that
remember.
freaking song. Now I'm going to have to rethink
Yeah,
it
Take
now.
Care. That was not one of my favorite albums. I'm going to say Thank Me Later. Oh, wait. Nothing Was the Same. That's one with All Me, right?
Yes, Nothing Was the Same.
I mean, yeah, just do got some cuts on
I
it.
played it all the way through, no skips. Nothing was the
Language,
same.
Pound Cake, All Me,
Yeah.
305 to My
Most of
City.
those were
Started from the bottom.
singles.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm going to say, yeah, Nothing Was the Same is number
Mhm.
one. That's my
Yeah.
number one. What's on
Definitely.
Views? Oh, that's when Drake became Champagne Poppy for Views. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm going to say Nothing Was the Same is my favorite Drake album. And
Okay.
then number two, I'm going to say Thank Me Later.
Mhm.
And if you're reading this again, if you're reading this, it's too late or tied. And I'm going to give Loverboy, Certified Loverboy number 3.
Number 3. Okay.
What you think?
So, Nothing Was the Same, definitely top tier.
Okay.
Top tier, guys. That's my favorite Drake album, period.
Okay.
And then Take Care is a close second. And then if I had to do a third, I would say Certified Lover Boy.
Okay. You don't put Thank Me Later at all?
I do. Ooh, comeback season. Ooh.
I'm looking at So Far Gone.
Dang.
I
Drake
really
just
fuck
been
with
giving
Drake on
us
comeback
hits for the
season.
past decade.
Comeback season wasn't that good.
Oh my gosh. Like, this man can just, I don't want to say he can do no wrong, but he really know how to craft a hit. Him and Noah. Okay.
40?
Yeah.
Dang. So Far Gone was so good too.
Yeah. He's one thing about Drake, baby. He gonna put out a hit.
Okay. So, anyway, besides the Drake album, I guess both of us giving that I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. As far as a rap album, it's good.
It is good.
And you know what? With Drake having so much longevity, to me, it's very hard for me to see top tier artists like that maintain such a high level of quality in their music and their creativity, and also maintain the same level of star power.
Yeah.
So I will say that Drake is one of very few that has been able to do that. Like, even the person that introduced him to us, Lil Wayne,
right,
his music has not maintained the same type of quality.
Wow.
So I like what you saying. Drake didn't really introduce nothing new on this album. I totally agree with that, but the consistency is key.
Yeah.
So I think I just want to commend Drake. This album I thought was really good, and this is coming from a person that's not a huge fan. Like, I'm a fan, but I'm just not like a
fan.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna die on any Drake hills. But anyway, this album, speaking of Certified Lover Boy, was actually dedicated to a young lady, an Instagram model by the name of Mercedes Moore. And that was her Instagram personality name. Her real name was Janae Gagnier. And so this girl, Mercedes Moore.
She's pretty.
Yes, like I said, she was an Instagram model, influencer. She did have an OnlyFans. She was living that kind of modern lifestyle that a lot of the young girls are kind of doing, that make money on Instagram and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like I said, Drake's album Certified Lover Boy was dedicated to this young lady that was unfortunately slain a few weeks ago in a murder-suicide. So for days, the young lady Janae was actually missing, and her family had started kind of calling around to each other, reaching out to her friends, trying to see if anyone had heard from her. And finally, her father actually went to her house, saw that everything was locked up. Whatever it was locked up in a way that he knew was not normal for her. So he literally kicked the door in and saw his baby girl dead inside at the bottom of her staircase. And a few feet away from her body, he actually saw her killer, who had a knife sticking out of his neck. He was actually still alive at the time that her father arrived, but I mean, he was pretty much dead. He was just gurgling.
Wow.
So yeah, horrific murder-suicide. This guy, one second, let me pull up his name. This guy, Kevin Ocorto, came all the way from Florida to kill Janae. And actually...
That's what Kevin looked like.
Yeah. I wish I could put a picture up on the screen for you guys, but...
Oh, my goodness.
Investigators, police actually do not even believe that this guy knew her personally. The thing is, a lot of people online have speculated that this guy was some type of sugar daddy, and that this was a sugar daddy situation gone wrong. But Janae was 33 years old. This guy was only 34 years old. So this is him right here.
Old as hell.
I mean, he does look old, but she also just looks young and pretty. But the thing is, I don't think it was a sugar daddy situation. I think that he was spending money on her online. I think that he probably subscribed to her OnlyFans, and maybe because he spent so much money, she interacted with him.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a sugar daddy situation. I think this guy was just a psychopath. I think he was just crazy, and I think that...
How did he find out where she stayed? I wonder that.
That's a really good question. It just says...
Was it forced entry? How did he get in
there?
No,
it wasn't forced entry, and that's kind of why there was so much speculation initially, was because there wasn't forced entry. But at the same time, what I think is that a lot of people are not necessarily constantly on the defense or just even aware or wary of things happening. So in this situation, it could have been as simple as Janae heard a knock on the door and
she opened up the door.
Right, reflex.
Right.
She just jumped up to open the door. Not even thinking it could be somebody that she doesn't know on the other side. So once that door is open, it's very hard for a woman to overpower a man. Yeah. Yes, because he's gonna push it all the way open and let himself in. So,
right.
unfortunately, there was a lot of speculation online, and I think that really hurt her parents because it took them a while to kind of come out and make a statement. And they just want people to understand that at the end of the day, Miss Mercedes Moore may have been an internet personality. She may have had an Instagram personality, but in her real life, she was very loved.
Yeah.
And she had a family that cared about her. And regardless of how she chose to make her money, the family doesn't want so many, rumors and accusations.
Yeah. And that's understandable.
Yeah, so people were saying it went from false accusations of HIV to other things. So people were saying, like, she may have given this guy HIV, or she finessed him. The guy actually did leave little notes throughout the house, written in her lipstick, stuff that said stuff like, she tricked me for my money, just weird stuff. So at the end of the day, I don't think she tricked him at all. I think that he was just crazy.
Yeah. That sounds more like it. Because,
hold on, let me see if I can find exactly some of the things he said. But yeah, I feel bad for her parents having to find her like that. For her dad, I'm sure when he kicked in that door, he probably felt like, hopefully it's not this. Hopefully she just gonna have to be mad at me. That's what I was thinking. That probably was his thought right before he even kicked it in. Like, she just gonna have to be mad at me. And I know that that's not what he expected to see.
I know it.
So, rest in peace to her. Like I said, Drake's album Certified Lover Boy actually was dedicated to her. Drake, as we all know, spends a lot of time in Houston. This young lady was based out of Houston, Texas. So, just sending out love and positive energy and etc. to her family and things of that nature. And just certainly not to victim blame, because I don't think the victim is to blame. But, when you have certain kind of careers, you just have to be safe.
Cautious.
Yeah, you have to be cautious. Unfortunately, that's the kind of world we live in. So just anybody that's out there, it don't matter what you're doing, as a matter of fact. What career you're in. Any young ladies just have to be careful. When you don't have the same physical ability, you have to make sure that you are on constant lookout, unfortunately.
Alert. Yep.
So last thing we're going to talk about before we go ahead and wrap up. Yesterday was the 20-year anniversary of the tragic event of September 11th.
Yeah, it was.
Which was the bombing, the crashing into of the Twin Towers in New York City.
Yep.
Back in 2001. Do you remember where you were when this happened?
Yeah, I do actually. I was with my mom. We were. I remember her having to take me to a doctor's appointment or something of the sort. And after that doctor's appointment, I heard some stuff. I heard people talking about things, but I didn't exactly know what exactly was going on. But we ended up going to get something to eat after my doctor's appointment. Went to Old Charlie's, and that's where people were talking about it. They were like, we don't know how this happened or why it happened, but somebody's crashed into the World Trade Center, unfortunately. So it was sad. It's very sad. Yeah, it almost makes you, I know everybody was so paranoid and so on guard about, their livelihoods, especially after that situation, because not only did they crash into the World Trade Center, they crashed into the Pentagon.
Absolutely.
So it's just scary thinking maybe your city could be next.
It is definitely scary. I'm gonna say for me, when this first happened, I just was very ignorant to the true impact of it. Because I was 10 years old when this happened, and my main concern at that point was, we at school chilling, we ain't doing no work. I'm just talking to my friends.
Right.
So as I continue to, grow and learn more, it's crazy just how big of an impact this had on so many people. From people having family that worked in the World Trade Center,
Right.
to people that may have been in the World Trade Center still traumatized from just being at work, to out of nowhere you seeing people jumping out of the building. You're looking out the window and you're seeing people falling.
Yeah.
And you don't even realize
what's going on.
And all you hear is screams and just terror. I can imagine that some of these people still have nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the Twin Towers employed so many people. It was one of those buildings where several businesses are inside of, one building renting out suites. So it's not even just people doing financial. I don't know, it's just crazy. And then it's also crazy to think how different a culture can be to where they would feel the need to commit a suicide mission. Because these guys that hijacked that plane, they did so thinking that it was an honorable thing to do for some reason.
They were martyrs.
Yeah. And they thought that they after they do this, yes, I'm going to die, but I'm going to go to heaven and get
honor and respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. In actuality, you've killed people.
It's crazy to think. But also, I'm going to say, something else we was discussing is just with this being the 20-year anniversary, and just last month, another press conference and announcement Joe Biden made was that we were going to be bringing back all the troops, finally, from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, we're talking about troops that have been in Afghanistan since 2001, 2002.
That's crazy.
20 years.
A whole 2 decades. We've been over there. For what exactly?
It's so many questions as to why. It goes from, they are stealing oil, to, they have unauthorized weapons of mass destruction, to, we didn't find no weapons, but they trying to do this, and they trying to, why is we in these people's business?
I don't know, man. Money. When it boils down to it, it's about money.
Honestly, and I'm sure I'll die not knowing, but I just truly wonder, what was September 11th all about? Just going back to talking about conspiracy theories. It's such a huge distraction.
Yeah.
I know that when we was talking about it, I just kind of pointed out the fact that on that day in New York, on September 11th, when every firefighter has been dispatched to the Twin Towers. If you was a firefighter and you was off work, you was called in. Firefighters from New Jersey was having to come to New York. Firefighters from Pennsylvania were coming to New York because they knew that they needed to help. Whatever area was close by, they were coming to New York to help. Right. All the police are having to rush. All manpower is needed at the Twin Tower right now. So, whatever you doing, that's a crime. It's on hold. You good. You good for the day. So, and then when I thought about the fact that any possible authority, any possible person that could be of assistance is going to be at the Twin Towers, it just makes you wonder what was going on behind the scenes. What was really being done while we was all looking at the Twin Towers. What was they doing behind our backs when we wasn't looking? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like when somebody's stealing at the grocery store and somebody else causes a distraction. You see somebody else start fighting, and then the person stealing, hurry up and run and grab all that shit and get out. Right. And the store don't even realize they've been robbed because everybody was looking at these two people fighting. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, certainly not to undermine the lives of anyone that was lost on the plane or at the World Trade Center, or anybody's life that was impacted just by the events. But at a point or another, you just have to wonder what's really going on.
We'll never know.
unfortunately.
We're just, I mean, sometimes I have a saying, if I don't know, maybe it's not meant for me to know. That's what I be saying to myself. Because listen, I really do wonder. Like 9/11 was such a huge, tragic event. What else was happening that day? Like
Yeah.
you literally have everybody who can help. Firefighters, police officers, nurses, doctors, everybody down at the World Trade Center. But who was looking after the rest of the? Like who? Then we
When
got
everybody
people from,
got their back turned, what's going on?
right. I'm gonna look up some conspiracy theories tonight and see like what people think happened like outside of 9/11. And I know it's some wild ones out
I
there.
don't know, say, girl, you're gonna be down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah, that happens, but it's okay. It's okay. I got time tonight, so I'm gonna do it,
Absolutely.
and I'm gonna come back to you with the deets too. I'm gonna be like, look what I
Oh,
found.
come back to me with the deets because I need to know.
Yeah,
Because I mean, like I said, it's just you just wonder.
yeah,
Same thing with the whole COVID situation. We all got up in arms for a year. We all got on masks for a year. We all doing all this stuff, and out of nowhere they come up with this vaccine that's a solution. If you don't get it, you're gonna die.
No,
But if you do get it, we'll give you $100. We'll give you some weed. We'll give you a Walmart gift card. We'll give you an Amazon gift card.
you get to go out to places. I just recently came back from New York. They are checking people's vaccination cards at the door.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Had to make me plan 2 individual events because people checking vaccination cards in New York. It's yeah. And when they did that mandate, I was like, "Oh, we on our way now." This is literally the ticket. If you don't have it, they try and exclude you, exile you from the rest of the world. It's crazy.
Because you done already bought so much stuff, so it's like, at this point, I got to go get it right quick. And you know what I will say, right before I wrap up, because we are running out of time. You know, I said to myself that I wasn't going to get it. And that if I did get it, it would be only because it was mandatory or because it stopped me from doing something. And so funny, a month ago, I was going to I went to San Antonio, and my grandmother lives there. And before I got there, I told her I was coming, and she goes, "Have you been vaccinated?"
Oh.
And almost that easy, it made me want to be like, fuck, I got to go get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Because she's not going to let me come visit her because she has, her and her husband have underlying health conditions. So that fast, it made me realize, like, damn.
Yeah.
This is how easy it is for them to do this to us, because it's like I could be prevented from seeing my family.
Yeah.
And then if I don't have it, it's kind of like I could be looked at as maybe in a way the black sheep, but also like, you don't care about us. You know what I'm saying? So,
right. I mean, I feel you coming from, because like majority of my family has been vaccinated, and my mom, hey, I know you watching. She's been like, you need to get vaccinated. It's a thing. Like you really, I'm concerned about you. You do all this traveling. You be doing this, that, and third, and you need to get vaccinated. I'm like, I think I'm ready yet. I just want to wait it out, see what happens. Because the last thing I want to do is get a vaccination and then I'm dead. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I just don't trust it.
Yeah.
I don't trust it. So,
I agree. That's how I feel too. I just don't trust it. I don't know what it could be. I don't know exactly what I'm afraid of. I just don't trust it.
Yeah, they came up with it too fast for me.
I agree.
That's like throwing up a freeway in like 6 months or 3 months, and they expect you to hop on that thing constantly. No, y'all threw that up too fast. Is it stable?
And then the fact that Bill Gates is the one that's like basically putting it out.
Yep.
That's another cause for concern. But that's another discussion for another episode.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and wrap up the Black Podcast Show. Pranicia, thank you so much again for one, coming to Dallas.
Yeah.
To be on the Black Podcast Show. It means so much to me. I'm glad that you took the time out of your day to talk to my listeners, to get some more information to your listeners. And I'm really hoping that somebody listening today or watching today received some inspiration. I'm hoping that they soaked up some of the knowledge you spread out there. I'm hoping they picked up on some of the gems you put out, and I just hope that it helps somebody. And I hope your black woman magic is contagious.
Yes.
And that someone can create their own lane based on, your motivation to do so.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I mean, you thanking me, but I want to thank you for bringing me on the Black Podcast Show.
Absolutely.
I appreciated my time here. I appreciated being in Dallas, everything else like that. And I really think what you're doing is dope. Like, for real. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
You making a lane of your own. You one person that's doing it, and I appreciate it.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank
No
you.
problem.
So obviously we showing each other some love. So support both of us. If you're watching this right now, like I said, like, share, comment. Go ahead and follow the Melanin Voyage on Facebook. She has a Melanin Voyage travel media community.
Yeah,
What is it?
it's the Melanin Voyage Black Travel Community. So it's like a
Yes.
Facebook group with like black travelers. Like we talk about travel and everything else like that. It's like a community.
So, yes, go ahead and join that group. It's thousands of people in there. If
Yeah.
you're not a big traveler but you want to get into it, that's your first step.
Yeah.
Go ahead and join that community.
Definitely.
Follow Melanin Voyage so you can get on one of her experiences.
Yeah.
You can travel the world. She got
With me.
so many different events planned already for next year. I signed
Yeah.
up for her email newsletter, and I get them like every other day. Like, oh, we going to Fiji, we going here,
Yeah,
we going to
yeah.
Dubai. So
Mhm.
if you ready to take some trips and you ready to get out the country, now's the time. And this black woman is making these trips happen.
Always.
So make sure y'all follow all her businesses. Make sure y'all follow the Black Podcast Show, and we gonna both continue to go up.
Period.
All right, I'll see y'all next week. It's the Black Podcast Show.
Bye, y'all.
Come on. Ha, sicker than your average. Pop a twist cabbage off instinct. Niggas don't think shit stink. Pink gators. My Detroit. Come on. Ha, sicker than your average. Pop a twist cabbage off instinct. Niggas don't think shit stink. Pink gators. My Detroit players. Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn. Dead right. If the head right, Biggie there. Come on. Ha, sicker than your average. Pop a twist cabbage off instinct. Niggas don't think shit stink. Pink gators. My Detroit players. Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn. Dead right. If the head right, Biggie there.
At the Irie Place.